5 o'clock, we will call this meeting of Water and Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County to order. Thanks for everybody's attendance. We do have a couple of members who mentioned they are not make the meeting. We have not heard from one other one, but looks like we have a quorum nonetheless. So we will get started. First item on the agenda is adoption of this agenda. Do I hear a motion to do so?
So moved. Second.
Motion a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, we will move into a general discussion. Chad has indicated he's gonna, from this point on, start putting an update section in the agenda just for him to have a few minutes to give us general updates and things that might be coming in the future. So this will be the first one. So
All right.
the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, as everyone on here knows, I like to talk a little more than Michael did. So I was wanted to take an opportunity just to have a moment each meeting to kind of highlight a couple things that are going on, coming up, just items that maybe don't warrant a full agenda item or any action by the board, but wanted to make sure everybody was aware of or just highlight. There will be an update later on the plant expansion, but I did want to brag on staff and our contractors. Our new aeration basin is online. All 3 trains of it are online and treating wastewater. So we had a big month of getting the NEF up online, so removing cyanide so we can convert the plant over to parallel. That didn't go perfectly smooth, but I think we were maybe a little impatient as a staff on that as we moved it over, and we had a huge flood right before we did it, which did not help matters at all. But we do have the NEF online, the equalization basin and the aeration basin all online, which are really the big heartbeat of phase 3 expansion. Still some work that needs to be done there to get that in kind of automatic control mode with the blowers and handling DO and everything, but still a huge month, huge step for getting all that started up. And our staff put in a lot of hours to make that happen. So it was a great job by our team. We have hired a maintenance manager for replacement for Chris, Jarrett Smith. Jarrett worked a little over 4 years, almost 5 years with WSACC in the maintenance SCADA department, left to go to Duke Power. Was there for 8 or 10 years, I guess, and was moved up through their maintenance department to kind of a maintenance superintendent, and is coming back to WSACC as our maintenance manager. So he really grew a lot being away from WSACC, being out with another utility, and I think he's going to bring a lot of organization and take a lot of things off of Chris's plate from the maintenance standpoint at the plant. So we're excited. That was a big hire for us. Wanted to remind everybody that the ribbon cutting for phase 3 is coming up October 3rd. That's a big event. I can't encourage everybody that can be there to be there. It's been an exciting day. Hopefully it won't rain. Weather will be beautiful and perfect, but we have no control over that. But we will be giving tours to ride around the plant on golf cart and kind of see everything that's going on and let you see how much of phase 4 is underway and how the plant's as wide open construction wise as it's been through this whole process. Last thing I got is next week, September 26th is Family Fun Day for WSACC up in Kannapolis at Kannapolis Park. And again, I encourage everybody, you can make it, even if you can only stop by and get a burger and just say, hey, you don't have to stay the whole time. But if you can, even if you can just swing by, staff always appreciate seeing the board members there and everything. So just want to encourage that. That's the last thing I did have that I wanted to mention real quick. We'll have a lot more details on this going forward. But one thing that Wendy and myself had noticed on phase 3 was that there was a lot of money that hadn't been built yet. We're wrapping things up here, and we're kind of not on the cash flow where we thought we would be at this point. Spoke with Crowder a good bit about that, and they've indicated that it appears we're going to end up about $10 million under budget on this phase 3, somewhere in that order of magnitude. We will be kind of dialing that in as they finalize some work, finalize some expenditures. Some of the work, the interceptor building, the thickeners kind of are going to extend beyond completion of phase 3. They weren't really required for phase 3, but we had included them in that work. But that's just good news for us. That's obviously good news. A big chunk of that is owner contingency, meaning we get 100% of that money back, about half of it, close to that. The rest is a shared savings provision in there that would be split 60% us, 40% with the contractor. But still, we look to be to the good on that significant amount. So that's good news. And we will have more information as we move forward on that.
Kind of unheard of.
Did we do that as an at-risk project? They see them at risk, or how's the savings share? Is that just contractual?
Yeah, that was contractual, a 60-40 split of construction contingency and the GMP actual amounts. As we remember, this was bid during a time with great price escalation, a lot of unknowns, a lot of challenges that contractor faced. So there was actually quite a bit of escalation that we avoided. I mean, a significant amount by pre-purchasing things and getting POs cut as early as we did on that. That big part of getting it delivered on schedule and a big part of the savings, I think. So, and then also I think allowing our staff to make quick decisions, keeping that contractor moving and on schedule was a big part of it as well. And so that a lot of credit goes to Michael, goes to our board for allowing us that ability. And so,
I mean, that's a significant, so if we did that as a CM at risk with a guaranteed maximum price, and that's a pretty significant $5 million savings on the share spot,
Yeah.
let alone the not using all that contingency. So well done.
Yeah.
We've had trouble with that on certain projects, and that's not always the case. So that is pretty significant. So thank you for that.
all right, and that's all I.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Chad before we move on? Okay, we have a request for approval of the minutes from August 15th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
A motion, a second. A motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I think that motion carries. Okay, Wendy's going to talk about this sub-grantee contract.
Yeah, I've seen the subcontracting, grantee contract before. We also are bringing before you the addendum by our council. This is for Prime Beverage Group. As you know, $585,000 grant was included in the state budget using state capital and infrastructure funds, or SCIF funds, for Prime to reduce wastewater discharge to WSACC. The SCIF grant was directed to flow through WSACC as a grantee and Prime as sub-grantee. I've attached those agreements, and we're asking that you would authorize the executive director to sign these once we have all documents necessary to make the SCIF grant application. Go ahead and answer any questions.
Well, you probably know what I'm gonna ask, which is, does Prime understand their responsibilities? Do they recognize them?
Yes.
Okay.
And so so that you guys know that Prime has already signed the sub-grant contract as well as the addendum. So they signed both those without comment. They signed the sub-grant agreement a while back, but they signed the addendum recently. So we have both those. So once we get WSAC signatures on them, but they do, we're holding their feet to the fire to make sure they understand their responsibilities and what they need to provide to us.
So I think I read somewhere that they did provide everything that they were required. Whereas the last time we really talked about this, they had provided nothing.
Yeah, they provided some over time, but now they've actually provided us everything that we need. Yeah.
Questions? People waiting? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the executive director? It should be authorized executive director to execute the sub-grantee contract and an addendum for Prime Beverage Group.
Move. Second.
A motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Oh, we got Lynn on. Okay, good. Welcome,
Hey,
Lynn.
guys, guys, I'm sorry. My day just got away from me. I didn't realize it. I just told Patty, I said, we got WSAC at 5. And she said, well, it's already 5 after now. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm glad to be with you this way.
Yeah, glad you could join, Lynn.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on. Chad, going to give us a discussion of the treatment plant expansion and our relationship with Charlotte Water.
All right. So as we discussed last month, Charlotte Water had approached us with a proposal with the participation in phase 4. Before I get into this, I do want to point out that we have Angela Charles, Director of Charlotte Water, and Ron Hargrove, Deputy Director of Charlotte Water here as we move through this. We had discussions with Charlotte Water. Really outlining the board's desire there to either take the full 1.6 and it be Charlotte's responsibility, or Charlotte Water take the 0.6, we take the 1 MGD and each pay for the associated cost with those. Charlotte Water has agreed that made the most sense to them as well, was to be responsible for the 0.6 and the cost associated with that, and us take the 1 MGD. So that means the 4 MGD expansion that we're doing, well, 3.4 MGD of that will be Charlotte Water, will be WSACC capacity, 0.6 will be Charlotte Water capacity. So with that, we will have to amend the amendment, I guess, or create a new amendment that outlines that cost breakdown of what that will be. So that will go from something in the 36 range to, I guess, something down more like in the teens type range. And we'll follow the same methodology that we did before of approaching that. So we will work through that and be coming back to the board next month, November, sometime with that amendment for approval by our board, and Charlotte will be doing the same thing. We want to get this done and wrapped up, but it does not affect the work taking place at all. They're heads down, getting work done, so that it doesn't affect the pace of work of the completion of phase 4 whatsoever. So I just want to make sure you understand that. I do make the recommendation that we consider dealing with the costs associated with that 1 MGD capacity, which at current GMPs is a little over $35 million with appropriated state money that we have, thus that wouldn't impact the fixed costs that our jurisdictions see. I just think that makes the most sense since we've kind of all plugged in and planned and programmed what the increases to fixed costs are going to be to each jurisdiction, that this allows us to get that 1 MGD capacity without impacting those projected fixed costs into the future.
Do you need any direction on creating an amendment, or is that a later date kind of thing? Are you looking for?
I don't think I really need, I mean, I think if everyone's comfortable with the way that we determine the percentages with the first amendment for phase 4, then we'll follow that same methodology. It's straightforward. There's nothing complicated there. Wendy, do we need anything for how we will appropriate monies for that, or can we do that later?
The board can give me the authority to go ahead and submit the application, and then, like I said before, that we'll have to come back before the board and approve the grant funds. So there'll be the step of applying, and then we'll have to come back for further approval.
So we'll have to deal with that piece of it, and we'll also have an addendum to the addendum contract.
Wendy, do you think you'll have feedback from the state by the time we deal with the addendum? I mean, because you said.
I've taken it as far as I can without, giving me more guidance, but and I've told them that the construction's underway, so we've already done everything, and since we've met state guidelines, this is state money, then they don't see any issues. Like I said, we still have to do the application, they still have to prove it, but this 56 million that we have is for any wastewater project that we have, so we have a lot of leeway there, so I don't foresee any issues. But we still have to go through the process.
And I guess, do we need to take action for that to authorize submitting that application?
You can, I don't know that I need it to apply, I guess you
Okay.
can just sort of, like I said, I know there's a step where I have to come back and then the board will formally approve.
I'm not hearing any objection to any of these things. So I think they're all later dates, and you're looking to say, does anybody not want us to do this?
Yes.
Yeah, I
I'm-
think that's the main thing. Is there any, let me put it this way, are there any concerns board members about path that's been laid out? If not, then
As long as Charlotte Water, I think, is in agreement with the point 6.
Yeah.
So.
to that point, on the agenda is public comments. If there's no board objection, I would like to move public comments to now, since our friends from Charlotte Water are here, and let them make a few remarks. Is there any objection to that? Hearing none, I'll open up the floor for public comments, and Angela and Ron, if you guys would like to.
Well, good evening. Thanks for having us. Ron Hargrove. I'm one of the deputy directors at Charlotte Water. Chad and I kind of talk frequently about things. Angela Charles is with me, our director. We appreciate the partnership. We've had a long time partnership with WSACC, probably almost 30 years now. And we appreciate how that's developed over time. You know, partnerships to us is something where, you know, you communicate, you build trust, and you look for that win-win solution. And so I know there was capacity concerns in the past, and this expansion has solved some of that, at least for now, but more will come as we know. So this offer was really just in that thought, yeah, we have some needs on our side, but we thought that because we were looking at flows in the area this would serve, there may be the ability to allow y'all to use a little more than you first thought you might have. But we're willing to forego the 1 million, which that would take our total capacity at Rocky River from 6 to 8 million as a total. And we think that will last us for some time. And then later on, we'll need to partner with you again as you do additional expansions. But we appreciate that. We look forward to working with Chad. Had a good relationship with Mike, but look forward to working with Chad and Thomas and others here at WSACC moving forward. And we'll work on the amendment to the amendment that actually sets out the cost share. You know, it was basically a ratio of the capacity to the expansion and whatever percentage that dictated what cost share we had. So we're willing to move on with that, and we'll keep our attorney, you know, in line to make sure he doesn't cumber that up, as attorneys might do. Hopefully there's none in the room.
Sitting right in front of us.
He's been called worse.
Just like we did before.
We worked together well before. We've gone through a couple of these amendments over the years.
Yeah, I think we're on Amendment 9. So,
That's right.
Anyway, I appreciate y'all having us tonight. Be glad to answer any questions y'all would have for us, but really just want to put names and faces with Charlotte Water. And I know I've never been to one of these board meetings, but wanted to come, and I knew y'all were talking about this tonight. So
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Any questions for either of them?
No questions, but thanks for coming over, Ron. I appreciate it. And Angela, great to see you. And
Absolutely.
you know, from the board standpoint, we appreciate the partnership, and this helps us out, and it seems like it's a win-win. So thank you again. Thanks for being here.
And I would like to point out, Ron's gone far enough to have a spy within WSACC. His son is one of our
that's right.
operators at the plant, so he has a plant within.
Yeah, you got him back. He left you, and he regretted that, and you got him back now. So.
But our relationship with Charlotte Water always has been much like our jurisdictions. It's not been one-sided. It's always been back and forth and a mutually beneficial relationship. It's one we've had to defend quite a bit with some of these capacity challenges we've had over the last year with the public of the why is Charlotte Water in the picture? Why are you giving them capacity? Why are you all this stuff? But it's one that it's always been nice, that it's been an easy thing to defend because it has been a valuable thing for WSACC, and I believe so for Charlotte Water as well. So.
Exactly, and Angela has to defend our investment in a plant in a different county.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all that stuff goes around, but you know, it's easier to do when we put names and faces and have those relationships. And we can talk about the benefits that it has for both parties. So.
Like having to explain interbasin transfer to people.
Somebody brought
that up.
Yes, thinking of future partnerships, you know, there might be something there that we want to talk about.
I'm not sure we will ever do that.
But anyway, we feel free to reach out to me or Angela should something come up. I know we'll be talking about the amendment, but if you need something from us, just that's what neighboring utilities do.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being here. Okay, are there any other public comments while we have this section open? Thank you both. Drive careful. All right, hearing none, we will move on. Okay, Wendy, we got a budget amendment.
Yes, so this budget amendment I bring before you is for Middlegate coding repairs that both town. We need to appropriate amounts to pay for these expenditures, and I'm asking it to you. It was bid twice, and we only received with the same bid both times. It's at almost $465,000. Asking to approve the budget amendment.
Any questions for Wendy on this item?
This gate is where exactly?
These are the main gates,
main- okay.
the hydraulic gates.
So multiple gates then?
Yes, all
Okay,
three
just-
gates.
Fair enough.
So will this require lowering the level to do this work?
Yes.
Yeah. Hate to know.
Okay, all right, is there a motion to approval? All right, got a motion, second?
Second.
All right, motion, second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, that budget amendment passes. Okay, Thomas. Give us an update.
Chairman, members of the board, we've got a presentation. Chad has stolen some of my thunder, but I have pictures.
What he done?
We'll share that engineering thing at some point. Give him a couple of months.
I'm excited. I couldn't help it.
That's all right. So a couple ongoing construction efforts to highlight here, Rocky River Phase 3 and 4. And then in the collection system, we are getting started on the ground, have gotten started rather, on Lower Cottle Creek Parallel Interceptor, have a couple pictures there. And then the Back Creek Parallel Interceptor is not yet started. We are in the final stages of updating that design. We're looking at ARPA, or we've applied for ARPA funding and all that with that one. And we are anticipating bidding that and getting that started, bidding that later this year, and getting that started very soon, thereafter. So for the Phase 3 expansion to 30 MGD, we have completed a number of things, mainly startup related, for the key things in the last month. So equalization basin, the nitrification enhancement facility, and aeration basin 6. So I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but these two pictures on the right over here, the top one is the NEF and the EQ basin, to a wastewater process engineer nerd. That's a pretty picture to see that running. So the center is the NEF there, the outer ring is the equalization tank. And then just below that, you've got the aeration basin. Again, to a wastewater process nerd, this is a beautiful thing because it's full, it's aerating like it should, and we're getting good results out of this. So a lot of work's gone into this, and we're thrilled to be at this spot. Projected in the next month, a lot of work at the thickened sludge pump station and the gravity thickeners. Those are part of the Phase 3 contract. Those are in that upper left-hand two pictures there. They are part of the Phase 3 contract, but they are not required to get to 30 MGD. So they were just they were something that was ready with the design. It was a good thing to get started on. We will need them for Phase 4, but they are well on the way, as you can see in those pictures as well. So we will continue this commissioning process for the Phase 3 items, the aeration basin, the NEF and the EQ basin. We are tuning controls. We're working out some kinks there, but everything is going pretty well so far. On Phase 4, completed in the last month, we are getting some more blowers for Phase 4. Witness testing has been completed for those. Those are coming over from Finland. So they have tested those to the specifications from Brown and Caldwell. They've done a number of things with installing pipe supports, sandblasting and coating work at the secondary clarifiers, and some structural work to get flow divided up the way that it should be for Phase 4. In the next month, they will continue coating and condition assessment at the secondary clarifiers. These are original to the plant. They're getting new drives and they're getting recoded as part of this process so they can service for some years into the future. And then backfilling and continuing excavation for EQ Basin 2. I don't know that any picture really gives you a good idea of the size of the excavation, but in the upper left-hand corner here, that is a full-size dump truck and quite a large excavator in the middle of the picture, and you can't nearly see the whole excavation. So that's been quite a effort out there.
So where is that? What's the building in the background?
So that is EQ Basin 1 in the background.
Oh,
So the basin we just saw from the air, circular basin with the
Right.
nef in the middle. This EQ basin will dwarf that EQ basin. And this will be mainly a wet weather EQ basin. We will continue to do all the things that we're all doing on I&I, reducing that. But this basin will help us to manage those wet weather flows that do make it to the plant. Lower Cottle Creek parallel interceptor. Speaking of big equipment, we've got an excavator here. For size comparison, you can stand up inside the bucket there. So that's quite a machine that they are going to be using. Got about 28,000 feet of parallel 48 inch and 36-inch interceptor sewer along Cottle Creek. We have an existing line there. This will have more capacity through there. We're working with Gavel and Dorn on that. Held a pre-construction conference in May. And pipe installation, you can see clearing work is ongoing, but pipe installation is anticipated to start next month. So they are continuing to clear, getting pipe and manholes delivered, all that sort of thing.
and they run independently of each other? They don't tie together anywhere?
They will tie together, but they are running parallel to each other along the alignment there. And that's it. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Just kind of referring back to Chad's comment about the rain was kind of screwing some stuff up earlier when you were doing some testing and starting up and that kind of stuff. So with equalization basin number 2, is it more important or more impactful maybe in a rain event with the new type of treatment we're doing?
Correct. Well, the design and the purpose of the large EQ basin is to reduce the peak flows that we see at the plant. So, and I think they have a philosophy they've already outlined, but somewhere when we start seeing the headworks of the plant, the head of the plant starts seeing, say, 60 million gallons a day. Flow will start being peeled off and sent to this wet weather EQ basin to slow down that gain beyond that point, with the hopes of us not seeing those 100 MGD, 110 MGD type flows that we see. 80 is the most that we see, and that extra amount is going to this EQ basin and being held. Then when flow comes back down, gets back down in a more reasonable, then that flow will start being metered back into the system and be treated at that time. Is the purpose of that. So that tank in theory could see a 6 or 9 month period where it sees no flow. It's just sitting there, during a dry weather period, or we're not seeing a lot of storms. It could see a situation where it sees flows twice in a month if you're in an extremely wet peak flow type period. But really it's to reduce those hydraulic peaks within your plant.
But we control the amount of product that runs into the aeration basin, right?
Correct. To a certain extent.
Right.
And that's what I was kind of getting at. I mean,
Sure.
a couple of years ago, we had these pictures of Mark Fowler and everything's flooding that plant. I mean, everything.
Mhm.
And I know that we have a tank down there that has some anaerobic action going on in it, but it's got a lid on it.
Yes.
This does not.
Right.
Yeah. And that's kind of where my question was going to, is a major rainfall events. I mean, that's a good bit of square footage just to open the rain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would be a minimal amount that
Right.
would fall. I mean, it would be.
Compared to the wastewater flow increase that we'd see during the same time.
Yeah.
This basin here, the EQ tank 1 that's in operation now is for daily swings in flow. Flow goes up and down during the day. This is so that we can maintain, the plant loves to see something constant coming in.
Right.
So this is so we can maintain something fairly constant in terms of flows and loading coming to the plant throughout the day. That other tank during a small or during kind of a moderate rainfall event should help us a lot. If we have a sustained rainfall event, if we have a hurricane, if we have something just enormous going on, we're still going to see really high flows that we're going to fill up that tank as well. And then, we'll deal with the excess as we always have.
So how big is equalization tank 2?
That's 17 million gallons or 12 million. I'm sorry, we got 17 total. Okay, thank you. So this one's 5 million, in the picture here, 1 million in the middle, 4 million around the outer ring. Thank you, Chris. And then 12 million, for the other tank.
Thomas, if you've got flow going to that EQ basin, has that already counted on your average daily flow, or does it not count till it comes back in?
It counts when it leaves the plant.
Right.
Okay.
So we have shifted that with the addition of the new flume, down at the effluent. That has given us a reliable way to measure lots of flow. Whereas we had some limitations there before. So now we've shifted to using that effluent flume for reporting. So it's not counting what's getting recirculated up top with the EQ.
Other questions? Okay, good report. Okay, we'll move into closed session now, unless there's anything else, open session. All right. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session under GS 143, 318, 11, A1, A3, and A4?
So move.
Motion, do I hear a second? A motion, second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
All right, and in closed session.